Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, I'd like to discuss how Liz Truss is trying to sue Keir Starmer. She sent a legal letter insisting that he stop saying she crashed the economy. It's absolutely beautiful because it means I can present to you some really good work from Sky's Ed Conway, the economics bod, to highlight exactly what Truss did, which she won't face up to, and why the Tory media today has been a little bit selective in its reporting of the state of the economy. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. So, I was looking at the news today, and it's, of course, all talking about the gilt markets, and there was a lot of talk about gilt markets when Liz Truss was around. I'm thinking, I need to do a video on this. How am I going to introduce it? Then Liz Truss pops up. I thought, oh, thanks, Liz, you're a good lettuce. Telegraph today. Truss sends Starmer a cease and desist letter over the claims she crashed the economy. So Liz Truss is now so upset by the whole thing. She's trying to take legal action against one of the country's former top lawyers. Never misses an opportunity to humiliate herself, this one. And I will repeat what I always say about Truss. Labour should be using her way more against the Tories. And this is interesting because today, the Tory media are talking about gilt markets again, but Sky's Ed Conway did his usual good work in explaining it all very simply. Mind you, I am going to begin by saying Liz Truss has an argument, not a legal one, but she has a sort of argument. She is described as having crashed the economy whilst she was Prime Minister. Labour have said that a lot. Lots of other people have as well. You wouldn't hear economists saying that. See, when they talk about the economy, they tend to mean GDP. And the GDP did not crash because a chancellor egged on by an idiot prime minister said something stupid. What Truss actually did was to crash the pound and people's pension pots. And as I've said before, I think the technically more accurate line was better for Labour anyway. I don't know why they didn't use it. I don't think enough people realise just how much permanent damage was done to people's pensions. Like, the pound recovered, and the economy, even if it did crash, it didn't, as in the GDP, it would recover as well. But those pension pots are permanently knackered now. Although that being said, although the economy, yes, when economists talk about the economy, what they mean is GDP. It's not a hard and fast rule. If you look up the actual definition, it just means the system we use to trade. Well, currency is part of the system we use to trade, and the currency did crash. So you can make an argument that Truss did in actual fact crash the economy, even though you wouldn't expect economists themselves to characterise it like that. So although I haven't seen her letter, the Telegraph say they've seen the letter. I haven't. And I haven't seen the specific arguments, of course. And I'm not a legal expert anyway, unlike Starmer. I'm going to guess all she's done here is further embarrass herself. In fact, actually, Keir Starmer should be a proper lad and send a reply which just contains a big image of a laughing emoji on it. Because here's the thing. Now that Liz Truss has sent this legal letter, if Starmer at any point now says she crashed the economy, and he doesn't say it every day, so we might have to wait a while, but if at any point in the future he says she crashed the economy outside of Parliament, because you can't sue him for what he says in Parliament, parliamentary privilege, but if he ever says it outside of Parliament and she doesn't successfully sue him, she's just going to Barbara Streisand the hell out of this. Because when you start legal proceedings, when people do it all the time, oh, I'll sue you. Well, when you do that, you either win or you lose, right? And if she doesn't win, it's like the law is saying she did crash the economy. So let's see where this goes. Could be entertaining. But in the meantime, the media is reporting that the gilt market is back up to the level it was during Truss's mini-budget fiasco. So does this mean that if Truss got shit about it, Reeves and Starmer should too? Well, Liz Truss certainly thinks so. She goes, well, why did I get into trouble over this? Rachel Reeves is not. It's absolutely disgraceful. It's not, though. It's completely different. As explained in some superb charts by Ed Conway, who's always worth a follow. He always sets these things out really well. There are two key differences between the gilt market during the mini-budget period and now. The first is that in 2022, the pound was crashing. Like, we nearly had a run on the pound. It was that bad. And the Bank of England had to take emergency action in order to prevent it. But the collateral damage of that was higher interest rates than would otherwise have been the case. So Truss did make the cost of living crisis materially worse. Whereas, as Conway explains, although the pound is down against the dollar, so is the euro. So basically what's happened is the dollar has just got stronger, not the pound weaker. So the pound is fine. Second difference is that what happened to the UK economy during the mini-budget period was out of kilter with other bond markets. That means it's something we did. But what's happening with the UK now is in line with other markets. Conway shows here changes in bond markets compared to US and German versions. If the UK is in the blue zone, it's in line with those other markets. So that's what he calls the safety zone. Conway shows that it ticks above the blue zone slightly just after Reeves' budget, but then dipped back down and is now right in the middle. But the red line is what happened after Kwarteng's mini budget, way above the blue zone of comfort, and stayed there for nearly 3 weeks until the Bank of England's emergency measures took place. So a huge difference between what Truss and Kwarteng's mini budget did and what Starmer and Reeves' budget has done. Truss and Kwarteng crashed the pound. That line way above the safe zone stayed there forever. The Bank of England had to instigate emergency measures to get it back down. None of that has happened with Reeves' budget. Now, as Conway goes on to explain, that doesn't mean that this current focus on the gilt market shenanigans is just a storm in a teacup and it's not worth talking about. When the market is high, it means the cost of borrowing is high, because you're talking about literally the money that has to be paid to investors in the bond market. And Reeves did borrow more than expected in the budget. The recent move means that her fiscal headroom has been almost wiped out. It's still there, there's still a little bit there, but not really very much. So if the situation is worse come the next budget, which is just in a few months' time, she has said she'll have to cut some spending plans to bring it back in line. So it's not good that the gilt market is at this high rate now, but it is in line with comparable bond markets. So it's not something that's been caused internally in the UK. It's not been caused by Reeves's actions. Unlike the 2022 mini budget, which was not following the pattern of other bond markets, and so the source was very much internal to the UK. That source being Kwasi Kwarteng promising tax cuts without saying how he would pay for them. But nice of Liz Truss to remind us all how destructive she was, and particularly charitable of her to pick a legal fight with a legal expert. I can't, of course, as I say, know how it will pan out, but I do expect it will provide us with some entertainment in the future. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I'll see you later.